Shalom, friends. It's a couple days before Purim here in Yerushalayim, and we're in the midst of a battle against the descendants of Haman in Persia. And Bezrat Hashem, by Purim and Shushan Purim, will be having a great celebration of victory over them. Parshat Para, the Torah that we read after Purim, where we cleanse ourselves from the contact with death that came about as a result of this battle with Amalek, as is explained by Rebbe Natan in Likutei Halachot. So the Rebbe has a few drushes for it. We've talked about some of them before. This one, which we haven't spoken about before, is Parshat Para Tafresh Chet Sadi, 1938 in Derech HaMelech, and we're even told how we got it. It was sent by the Rebbe from Warsaw to his Chassid, Rav Reuven Geshaid in Eretz Yisrael, who gave it to his son, Rav Nachman Geshaid, who gave it into the editors of this book. The Geshaid family were important Hasidim of the Rebbe. I believe they were involved in the editing of Eish Kodesh as well. So two things. One, very brief. The Rebbe starts out by saying, Chutz mizeh shekriyat parasha mitaheret betach gam remez avodatenu lanu ba. He says, first of all, we need to know that when we hear the reading of Parshat Para in the shul next Shabbos, we're not only remembering a mitzvah that was done in the time of the Beit HaMikdash, which has to do with a way to become tahor, but the very hearing of these words being read out of the Torah scroll help to make us purified. So have that kavana in mind when you hear it. There are opinions that Parshat Para, like Parshat Zachor that we read last Shabbos, is from the Torah mitzvah, which is hard to explain and not the mainstream opinion, but here we have the Rebbe telling us that one way or the other, it causes us to have a purification process. So that's pretty amazing. Later on, when the Rebbe's talking about what is the avodah that we can learn here, and without tying it into the parsha, so he says, in addition to the fact that we have to serve Hashem, we also have, I'll read Hebrew, tzarich gam lehitpa'er biyofi v'tohar shel mala. We have to also be beautiful with the beauty and the purity of above, which is in itself a beautiful line, which stands by its own as a wonderful thing. He explains this by saying that we have to, on the one hand, not only push away the temptation for doing the wrong thing or even the thoughts about wanting to do the wrong thing, but also strive to do something more positive. And he gives an allegory, a mashal here. He says a chassid is driving to see his rabbi, and he stops at an inn, and in this inn everybody's drunk, there's all this loud talk, and it's a whole scene. And he says there's not only profanity being spoken, but the chassid also sees some rather inappropriate behavior going on there, and it affects him. It can't not affect him. He wants to put it out of his mind, but he's not got these images and sounds in his head, and as he leaves, he's working on getting out these ideas from his head. And then he finally comes to his Rebbe's court, and he comes to the Beis Medrash, and there it's also noisy and a balagan and crowded and crazy, but what's there is people learning Gemara, learning Zohar, learning Hasidut, and it's the sounds of Kedusha, and it's the sights of Kedusha, and all of a sudden now his head is filled with holiness and with beautiful thoughts, and he has very, very inspiring tefillot, and all of this Kedusha has completely overwhelmed the negativity which he picked up when he was in the inn on his way there. And he says that's the two stages of our avodah, or two aspects of our avodah. One aspect is simply to try to remove the negativity that we're exposed to all the time, and that we also produce on our own pretty well without being exposed to it, let's be honest. And then the greater level is to not just avoid that would be the sur me'ra, but also the aseh tov, the do good, of filling ourselves with tremendous kedusha, and that being what is filling our head and our whole experience. And elsewhere he writes, I think in Mavor Shurim, if I'm not mistaken, sur me'ra al yedei aseh tov, that the Hasidic way to get rid of evil is to do good. By doing good, we remove the evil because we completely become filled with good, and that's what we really want to strive for. And Purim is a it's all, well, you're going to see this after Purim, but so whatever happened, happened, but it's certainly a day where these ideas could be applied as well. But we'll leave that maybe for next year before Purim. And as I said, by the time you hear these words, there should be great joy and celebration in all of the provinces of Achashverosh's kingdom, so to speak, all over the world, everywhere where Jews live. There should be salvation and joy and celebrating the modern day continuation of the miracles of Purim. Should have only good tidings. Hashem should protect all of Am Yisrael everywhere, and you should have or have had a happy Purim and a Shabbat Shalom, a Parshat Para, which is purifying, filling us with Kedusha and Torah, invigorating us as we get ready to move towards, yes, the final liberation of Pesach. Kol Tuv, Shabbat Shalom.